I would like to say about Muji, because I started Non-Duality by watching him, and I have met him 2 times in person, and it was very, very strong experience energetically, very high vibration, and I wanted to stay there feeling this extreme joy. This is also natural that we want to feel good, so this vibrational high is wanted. I feel also that this is making some work inside, but I don't know how to explain this. Maybe you could say something about this. Thank you. That was such a nice drink, and I enjoyed that. Yeah, sure. So I don't know, there's 2 things about joining an ashram or an organization. Like in some ways I can see it being really beneficial. Like if I thought about myself, like sometimes I think if like I have Khaleesi to look after, but if I didn't have Khaleesi to look after and I wasn't doing this, I sometimes consider that I would join an ashram or something, because survival is easier. Like I'm very happy doing gardening or like mundane jobs in an ashram somewhere, and the whole survival is looked after, and it's a very simple life, and there's something very nice and easy about that. What I would find difficult about being in the ashram is if I was asked to prescribe to a belief system, like a really strong belief system, which most ashrams you are required to, I think including Muji's, and also asked to ignore bad behaviors from people in power. I would struggle to do that, but I do see that it is an easier way of life, especially if you're young, or even if you're older and you haven't really like created a life in this outside world, or if you have, you're not particularly liking it. So I do understand that. So also from the vibrational level, you gotta remember, like when you meet a guru in an ashram, there is a lot of energy happening there, because not only have you got the teacher, which I suspect has had the energetic shift. I suspect Muji's had that energetic shift. I think that I can't guarantee that, but I think that some of his characteristics beforehand he didn't deal with and are most probably being acted out now. Like some characteristics that aren't very nice, but that's because he didn't deal with it before, and the personality, the character doesn't dissolve. But I suspect that there's been the energetic shift there, or there's been a big energetic shift. I don't know. There's something that happened. But I also have a nice feeling when I listen to him, that there's a nice energy that it comes from. But when you go to the ashram, which can be confusing for people, and can get people stuck in there, not just his, but anybody's, is that you've got hundreds and hundreds of people worshipping him. Not just him, Muji, but other teachers. So you can go to some of them, like, so what was that teacher, that big one, Sai Baba? And he had thousands and thousands of people watching him, worshipping him. So when you go to a satsang, there isn't only the teacher's energy, which is open and expanded and free. You've also got thousands of people around them giving that person love, and that is that can have a huge effect on you. But that's not actually freedom. Those are 2 different things. It happens when you go to a concert as well. It's like you get into delirium. It's the same with if you go into a room and you've got lots of people hate and anger and bitterness. Like if you went maybe into a prison, you'd feel this tight contraction. But also you've got this energy when lots of people are around loving that one person or that one object. There's lots of positive energy that's being in that group, which can be really beautiful, but that's not freedom. That's an emotional reaction happening on the human level, and that also can behave like a drug. So it can become an addiction. It's like I don't know the name in English. Yes, I understand this. So So then what happens is you go and live in the ashram, and he will become like a drug to everyone. So everyone will have this like really wonderful projection onto Muji, and will always be, or onto the person. I don't mean to speak about poor Muji. Like, I'm also super grateful that Muji has made non-duality so accessible for people. I just don't like this other sexual stuff. And the whole kind of power structure things. So then everybody's addicted to this drug and everyone's fighting for his attention. And this isn't such a psychologically healthy environment to be in. Like, you'd be better off in a more neutral, like Buddhist ashram than in an ashram that's always fighting for one person's attention, because it gives that person a lot of power. And if that person isn't psychologically very balanced, then they'll be greedy and they can't help but pick the fruits from the sangha. So like, live in the best house, live in a giant mansion where everyone else sleeps in halls, have most of the money in their name, sleep with the young students. And that's a psychological thing. And then what you're doing is you know that deep down that there's an unbalance and there's something not quite right going on there. And then you have to swallow it, and you have to like lie to yourself about it, pretend it's not happening. And if you question it in the group will jump on you. They won't let you think or question it. This isn't healthy. This is like schooling environment. This is like our society. That goes back to the world. And then you sort of like get into the dogma of the group, that nothing Muji says can ever be wrong, and that you guys are always unenlightened, and that you've always got to work on yourself. But having said that, sometimes that's a better option than your living environment. Thank you. You are telling me my thoughts loudly. But I'm not against it. Like, if after I had this big awakening, I did go and consider living in an ashram in India. Because I just wanted a really simple life, and everything seemed too complicated, like other options. And then when I came back to the West, I just wanted a really simple job of being a dog walker or something. But it's never that simple in the West, because we have to maintain so much paperwork in order to exist in the West. Whereas an ashram in India seemed like it could be just invisible. I also appreciate Muji. Yeah, I appreciate Muji too. I don't mean to sound like I really dislike him. I think there's freedom there, and I'm grateful for him sharing all those words. I just don't agree with this whole guru thing, for many reasons that I've said in the past, and there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for some behaviors, saying it's God or saying it's the divine acted out. And I'm not talking about Muji here, I'm talking about other guru figures. It doesn't, intuitively it feels wrong, and it feels wrong for everyone that comes in contact with it. But the other stories of having a guru and you getting somewhere overcomes it, and so then you begin to shut your eyes to it, just like in this society. Those, your intuitive feeling feels like there's something not quite right about that. But the organization will keep saying, your intuitive feeling is wrong, that is ego, that is a lie. There is nothing wrong with these power discrepancies. Yeah, you see, the nice thing about Ramana's ashram is it is there is like there is an impersonality there, as in regards to Ramana's not still around, so it's got a system that works. So there isn't such a hierarchical system. I'm sure it still is hierarchical. I'm not against hierarchical, actually. It's just as long as the hierarchy is balanced and not being greedy. I actually, when I was thinking about the ashram, I was thinking about Arma's ashram, which is really, they do some really crazy things there. Yeah, but it felt quite good. Hi Lisa, if there's no observer, who is looking and experiencing? Exactly. It's everything. There is no separate observer. There is everything that is observing.